Hello, Lawrence Township students and families. This video was created for 3rd grade during the week of May 11th. Our focus will be humanities, and this is lesson 3. In this lesson, students will see how plants grow almost everywhere on the planet. Plants are so important to life on Earth that without them, we could not survive. Today, we will be studying nonfiction text to help us understand why plants are such an important part of our life here on Earth. Your learning targets include determining the main idea of a text, retelling the key details, and explaining how they support the main idea. We will also write effectively for a variety of tasks, purposes, and audiences, and construct an argument that plants and animals have internal and external structures that function to support survival, growth, behavior, and reproduction. For task number 1, students will read a nonfiction section of our science textbook about what plants need. We will read pages A18 through A25 from the science book, and you will reread it several times to practice reading more fluently. Then reread it to make sure you understand the information presented in the text. In each section, underline the parts of the text that tell you what the main idea is and any details that support that main idea. Students will be successful when they have read the science text and underline the parts of the text that show the main idea and supporting details. Because our science text pages for this week are so long, I'm going to read them with you. This page is called Plants and Seeds. First, we're going to learn about plants without seeds. You have read that some simple plants don't have roots, stems, or leaves. These simple plants don't have seeds either. They reproduce by spores. The seed is the first stage of growth in many plants that have roots, stems, and leaves. However, not all of these plants produce seeds. Ferns are examples of this type of plant. Ferns, like smaller plants, reproduce by spores. These spores are found on the bottom of the fern leaves, or fronds. Plants, such as this fern, reproduce by spores. The spores shown in the magnified photo are in small dots. There are hundreds of spores in each dot. This next section is called Some Plants Make Seeds. Plants that reproduce by seeds usually form more than one seed at a time. These seeds carry the information needed to grow into plants that look very much like the adult plant that they came from. 2 groups of plants form seeds. In one group are the plants that have flowers. You may have seen flowers growing on bushes, on trees, or on small plants. In the other group of seed-forming plants are plants that have cones. Some evergreen trees, such as pine trees, have cones. The cones have hard scales that protect the seeds under them. Some plants can be grown from other plant parts. For example, if you place a leaf or a piece of a stem in water, it may form roots. Once roots form, you can put the plant part in soil and it will grow into a new plant. The leaf or piece of stem used to grow the new plant is called a cutting. Underground plant parts such as bulbs can also be used to grow new plants. Down below, on the left, the caption says dandelions form many seeds that are easily blown by the wind. If we go next below, the caption says the seeds in a watermelon are protected by its fruit. And then under the tulip, the caption says, many flowers, such as this tulip, grow from bulbs. Our next page is called What Seeds Are. Have you ever found seeds inside an orange or an apple you were eating? Many plants reproduce or make more plants like themselves by forming seeds. Seeds may be large or small. They may be round, oval, flat, or pointed. Seeds may be many colors too. They may even be striped. A seed looks very different from the plant that grows from it, but all seeds become plants that look like the plants they came from. Under the flower, the caption says, after a sunflower seed germinates, a new sunflower plant will grow. And at the bottom, the caption says, this cone from a pine tree produces many seeds. What seeds need? In the investigation, you observed that seeds began to grow into new plants when you gave them water and warmth. When the small plant breaks out of the seed, we say the seed germinates. As a seed begins to sprout, a root grows from it. Next, the seed breaks open and a young plant or seedling appears. The seedling begins to form the parts it will need as an adult plant. The roots and the stem grow longer. Soon, the seedling breaks through the soil. As the plant grows larger, more leaves begin to form. How does the squash change as it grows from a seed to a young plant? And in the photo below, we can see it germinating and sprouting from the seed as it grows bigger and bigger. In the caption up above, it says, "This summer squash is ready to eat. It is filled with seeds that could grow into new plants." Seed parts. Seeds may be many different shapes, sizes, and colors, but all seeds have the same parts. Seeds are like packages with tiny plants inside. The package is wrapped by the seed coat. Inside the seed coat is a seedling and food for the seedling. In our graph below, we can see sizes of seeds, and then we also have some illustrations of different seeds that we have seen before. So we can see a butterbean seed, an apple seed, corn seed, an avocado seed, which is the big pit inside, and look at that big coconut seed. We can also see how long the seeds are. So an apple has the shortest seed at 7 millimeters, whereas the coconut has a 300 millimeter size seed. Up above, it says that the seedling is living inside of every seed, followed by the seed coat that protects the young plant inside the seed, and then there's the stored food. Most of the inside of a seed is the stored food. The young plant uses the food to grow when the seed sprouts. Where seeds form. Have you ever looked closely at a pine tree? If you have, you may have noticed that it has two kinds of cones. The small cone is male and the large cone is female. The seeds form inside the female cone. When the seeds are ready to grow into new pine trees, the cone opens and the seeds fall out. Seeds also form in flowers. Look at the diagram of the flower below. The male part of the flower is called the stamen. The female part of the flower is called the pistil. Seeds form in the bottom part of the pistil. As the seeds grow, the bottom part of the pistil swells around them to form a fruit. In the caption, it says pine trees have male and female cones. And then in our diagram, we can see all the different parts of this flower. We know the petals pretty well, and we can also see the stem down below. But inside the flower that you might not have seen before, there are many different parts. So we can see that the stamen has two parts, the anther and the filament. The filament is like the white stem coming up, and the anther is the head. And then we can also see that in the middle of the flower is the pistil, which is that female part, and we can see that it has three parts as well, the stigma, the style, and then the seeds that form down below. How seeds are spread. Many seeds do not simply fall off the adult plants and sprout in the soil. Instead, they are scattered and moved to new places. Seeds are spread to new places in many ways. Some seeds are shot out of the adult plant like a cannonball from a cannon. Other seeds are spread by air, water, and animals. Here in the first photo, the caption says, "The fluffy parts of these milkweed seeds help them float away on the wind." Looking below the photo of the bird, the caption says, "Many berries contain seeds. When birds and other animals eat the berries, the seeds pass through their digestive system unharmed. These seeds are later dropped onto the ground far away from the plant they came from." So birds, when they go to the bathroom, are helping spread the berry seeds to make new plants. Next to the photo of the dog, we have the caption that says that a cocklebur has hooks that grab onto fur or clothing. An animal or a person may give the seed a ride to a faraway place. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, above the photo, the caption says, "Water carries these mangrove seeds to new places." In summary, some plants form seeds to make new plants. Some plants also can be grown from plant parts. Seeds grow to look like the adult plants they came from. Although they may look different from one another, all seeds have the same parts and need water to sprout. Seeds are often spread to new places by air, water, and animals. The caption from the photo says that witch hazel plants shoot their seeds to spread them. This is called bolting. For task number 2, students will determine the main idea and find supporting details to explain their thinking about the information in our science book. First, reread pages A18 to A25 to solidify your understanding of plants and seeds. Maybe you want to go back and read that on your own. Then fill out the table about the main idea and supporting details for the sections identified in the text. Be sure to explain your thinking when asked. Students will be successful when they can determine the main idea and find supporting details to explain their thinking. Here we can see the table for main idea and supporting details. We've used this table before for other texts. We have 3 sections we're going to look at. First, we need to look at page A18, where it talks about plants without seeds. I want you to find the main idea using complete sentences and write it here, and then tell me 2 different details from the text that support your main idea and explain how do they support the main idea. The next section is on page A19 called Some Plants Make Seeds. First, find the main idea of that page, and then 2 supporting details explaining why those details support your main idea. Finally, we're going to go back to page A20, What Seeds Are. Tell what is the main idea of that page, and then 2 supporting details that support your main idea and explain how or why they do that. On this page, we're going to continue, because we read many pages, and do the same thing for A21, What Seeds Need, A22, Seed Parts, and finally A23, Where Seeds Form. Find 2 supporting details for each main idea and explain how do they support that main idea. For task number 3, students will use what they have learned in Miss Johnson's plant experiment, Magic Tomatoes, and the science textbook to answer a writing prompt. First, think about what you have learned in all of the text that we have read this week about what plants need to survive and how they grow from seeds. Then write a good 3rd grade level paragraph using correct punctuation, capitalization, and 3rd grade spelling to answer the prompt at the top of the page. Students will be successful when you can write a good narrative or informative paragraph using details from the stories that we have read. Here we can see our writing prompt. Pretend a seed can talk. Write a creative story for a younger child to hear about the life of a seed and what happens to it as it is being planted in a field on a farm. To do this, you will write 5 to 7 sentences in a paragraph on the lines below. Make sure that once you finish writing your story that you go back and check to make sure that you have proper capitalization, punctuation, and 3rd grade spelling. For task number 4, students will complete the DLR on the following page. Students will be successful when you can correctly answer at least 5 out of 6 questions on your daily language review. Here we can see our DLR for the day, and in our first box we need to find which word has a suffix. Remember, a suffix comes at the end of a root word. Then, which word comes first in alphabetical order in box number 2. Box number 3, we need to say which verb correctly completes the sentence, Raymond and James blank their bread. In box number 4, again, we need to circle the adverb, so the word that is describing the verb. In box number 5, correct the sentence with capitalization and punctuation. The sentence says, do you like Walmart or Kroger? Listen to how I said that. I think it's a question. Do you like Walmart or Kroger? That's my tip to you. And in box number 6, our sentence says everyone should exercise for 4 hours a day. Is that a fact or an opinion? The next few slides provide you with visuals and support to ensure you are successful with each task. Here we can see the academic vocabulary from some of the texts we've read this week that we can use to better understand our vocabulary words. They are continued on this page as well. If needed, watch this video again as you work on the tasks in this lesson. Please be reminded to submit your work to your classroom teacher.